So my guest today is really does not need any introduction at all, but I'd just like to say a big thank you to Jeremy Clarkson for joining me today. Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very
Good.
well. So I just wanted to ask you, growing up in rural Yorkshire, would you say your childhood set you up, set up your passion for farming and love of the countryside?
Well, not really, because I mean, rural Yorkshire sounds like it was Swaledale or, sort of William Hague's old constituency, Muker and Thwaite, whereas in fact it was the Socialist Republic of South Yorkshire, which was really, I could see 5 power stations from my bedroom window and 3 coal mines. So it wasn't really, it wasn't like rural like you think of. But no, we did live in the countryside, a very small pocket of it. And yes, I used to wander about, but I didn't really understand any of it. And I didn't understand farming at all, and still don't really, but I certainly didn't understand any of it, even in September when we started making this new TV show about farming. So, I mean, I'm completely clueless.
Can you tell me a bit about your farm and how it came about? You blew up your old house, didn't you?
That was well, it was 2008 actually, and the previous owner, I mean, we can all remember what happened in 2008. The world went a bit potty, and so the farm came up for sale at a reasonable price, and I thought, well, I should buy that, and then did. And then really nothing happened. There was a guy that had been farming it before, and he carried on farming it. And I didn't really pay much attention until last year when the guy said, well, I'm going to stop farming. And I thought, well, how hard can it be? You just put seeds in the ground, and then weather happens and you get food. So that's easy, I'll do it. And we started on what was the wettest planting season in history. And then there was Brexit, and then there was COVID, and then we had the driest spring in history. So it's been a pretty good year to be thrown in at the deep end.
Bloody nightmare.
It's a bit.
What do you mainly farm?
Well, there's about 600 or 700 acres of cereal, wheat, barley, rape. And then, well, no, not much rape because the flea beetle had it all. But, no, that's not fair on my tractor. I only had 10 acres. And then I've started doing other things. I've got some sheep this year, which has been a disaster, and that doesn't work. And bees and fish, and I just trying like lots of different things to see if any of it works. And of course, it doesn't.
Sure, it will.
Well, the bees aren't so bad. It's just they hate me, and even though I wear my full bee suit, they've worked out how to get into it.
Have you been stung lots? Oh, how awful!
I don't want to be lavatorial, but isn't lavatorial. But last time I went there, they normally get me on the ankle, the bit between the training shoe and the bottom of the suit. They've worked out that's my literally my Achilles heel. But this time I wore Wellingtons. I thought that'll stop them. So the bee got in at the bottom, and I didn't know, crawled up the Wellington, up the jean trouser, until it got to the bit between my t-shirt, where it found an interesting crack. And down it went, and then stung me.
Oh, for God's sake.
In a bee suit, can't get the bee out. So I knew it was there, dying in my underpants. And I just thought, God, this honey better sell.
Oh, yeah.
It does taste nice, lovingly prepared with rape.
Delicious. Sure, it's very good. And what would you say has been your biggest challenge so far with the farming? Well, apart from COVID, all the other things.
Apart from COVID, Brexit, and the weather, the sheep are challenging. And it's so depressing because there's simply no money. I just know there's no money at the end of it. I mean, we sheared them all last week, and I had to pay the shearers. And they couldn't use Kiwis, obviously, because they aren't here. I had to pay them, I think it was £1.45 or £1.75 a sheep. And then you get 30p for the fleece, because it's their North Country mules. So, actually, I'm going to use it as insulation in the new house I'm building.
Good idea.
There's no point selling it, so because
Oh,
nobody's making carpets or anything. So, so I'm going to use it as insulation.
great idea. Great idea. So there been any decisions you've made to date where you thought, oh shit, that was a bad move?
Vegetables, you know, you can't really grow vegetables in the Cotswolds, as it turns out. I mean, I
Really?
now know it's genuinely hilariously pitiable attempt. We planted them all by hand. It just took 4 acres. Oh, well, I'll give it a try. But 4 acres, quite a lot to plant by hand.
Must
And
have
then
taken
really all
ages.
what?
Must have taken ages.
Yeah, no, yes, it did take ages, and they simply aren't. The weeds are growing very well.
I'm sure.
And there's some things grown, but then I can't decide. Lisa, my girlfriend, thinks it's chard, and I think it's spinach. So we don't know what to call it in the farm shop. It's chard or spinach.
Oh, well, that's all right.
One of the
They
two.
can
Well,
guess
that's
when
grown
they
quite
buy.
well. Potatoes grow quite well, but everything else, total failure. Need to be in East Anglia, apparently,
Okay.
which I'm not.
Oh, no. And have you bought lots of farming toys? What have you got a
Um,
favourite toy?
well, my tractor's pretty good, although I'm told it's not very good, but I think it's brilliant. It's a Lamborghini, obviously. I mean, I know that there's lots of different types of tractor, but not really. There's only, if you've got the choice of buying a Lamborghini, obviously you're going to buy a Lamborghini. And that
Yeah.
arrived with a European hitch on the back of it, so nothing would go on it. But apart from that and the steering wheel, which has come off, it's brilliant. And it is quite big, and it won't go in the tractor barn
Oh,
or down
God.
any of the lanes or through the gate posts.
Right.
And it's too powerful for all the equipment I bought. So too powerful for anything that runs on a PTO, anything. It just breaks everything, really.
But it's still
But it
brilliant.
looks good. Oh, it looks good. Kids like it.
Yeah. Very good. Biggest farming disaster to date?
Um, oh, God. I mean, there hasn't really
Or
been a
sort of funny
massive...
disaster?
There hasn't really been a massive one. We did manage to get, in the wet period, we got 3 tractors all stuck, which I didn't think it was possible to get a tractor stuck, but you can. But there haven't really been any. I mean, because obviously making a TV show, and one of the things I didn't want for it to be is like the Grand Tour or in the olden days Top Gear, where everything goes wrong. We always catch fire and
Yeah.
you go, oh no, well, that was disastrous. And I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted to do my best. And we've been the same as every other farmer, stuck by the weather. And all it's really designed to do is say to people, you know, that loaf of bread you buy and then you let it go stale and then you put it in the bin. This is how much work went into actually making it. That's the point of the program, really.
Mm.
You know those lamb chops that you found last week that you've forgotten you'd bought, or that your faddy kid says I don't like them? This is how much work went into producing them. And also, why can New Zealand lamb be cheaper in the supermarket than the lamb I've grown here, which I still don't understand.
No. It's mad, isn't it, actually?
Yeah, it is. It
Um,
is.
and what would you say, what part of farming gives you the most pleasure? What do you enjoy the most?
Well, I mean, the weather has been, I don't know if you can see this. I might just look at that.
Oh, yes. Farmer's tan.
Well, it's a proper farmer's tan.
Yeah.
No, it's the weather's, when you're out and about, sort of in the tractor late at night. I was doing some cultivating the other day for the game crop. That was heaven. It was absolutely heavenly. And I don't have to drive I don't have to go through Terminal 5 to do anything. All I've ever done for the last 30 years, get up in the morning, go to Terminal 5, come back the next day through Terminal 5, and then the next day. And I've got 3 passports because one's always with an embassy, and I've locked, so it's been just constant Heathrow. And I haven't had to go through Heathrow now well, I might have accidentally gone to Zanzibar in March, but apart from that, I haven't had to go through Heathrow for months, which is brilliant.
Yeah, I bet that's...
No commuting.
Yeah.
My car's forgotten what it's for.
Yeah. And Jeremy, do you have a shoot there on your farm?
We do. It's known locally as the world's worst shoot.
Right.
I mean, I haven't travelled to all of the shoots in the world, but I've been to a lot. And I think it's right. I think it is the worst shoot it's certainly in Britain. It's the worst shoot I've ever been to.
I'm sure it's not.
No, it is. But we have fun. I mean, it's more of an armed drinks party, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
People get here at sort of 9, unless they're begin with, well, see and end in Harley Brooks.
Yeah.
Gets here
Yeah, it doesn't
an hour
surprise
after
me.
that. But no, so people get here and then we maybe have a short sharpener and then another one, then another. And then if you can find your gun, we sort of wander off, and there are no pegs or anything.
Oh, it's fun though. More of a rough shoot then, would it be?
Well, it's because there's I mean, we've got the beaters all come, and then but I like to put 4 people to a peg, because I mean last year we had 20. Well, the first year we had it, to give you an idea of how bad, we had 27 guns, and the bag was 3 woodcock, 1 pheasant, a fox, and a trout, which I shot. Board.
Great selection.
Yeah, it's got better now. I think we shot over 200 on the last day. So
That's fantastic. That's all right.
But 180 of them were on one drive, so again, not brilliant. It's not spread out evenly.
No. Oh, that's all right. And have you allowed the Heathrow over your farm yet?
No, they come over and knock all the fences down and then deny they did it. They're here. So, but all the hunts come. I forget the beagles and the bloodhounds and everybody comes. And the Heathrow. Yeah, and I try to get them, if we're shooting, to stay on the northern end of the farm and not come where the drives are. But people on horses don't pay any attention to what I say. So,
well, you might get a horse in your bag as well.
Well,
and
exactly. I wouldn't like.
They're not careful.
I only like hunting because it was banned. I used to be mildly anti it before that. So when it was banned, I thought, oh well, I'm in favour of it now. But it's yeah, I'm not a great fan of a Heathrow or indeed any of those hunts. But you know, they can come and I wouldn't mind if they kill foxes, but I'm not allowed to do that.
I know. Yeah.
And then I say, well, I'm going to kill the foxes. And they no, you can't kill the foxes. Well, what am I supposed to do then? I can't kill them, and you won't kill them. Yeah. We've got some great footage from last year of somebody on the Heathrow standing on their horse, and we were filming, and they knew we were filming, and we told them we were filming, and we got it from 4 camera angles and a drone of this woman sitting on her horse in the blue hat and everything on the phone, and a dog fox ran 6 feet away from her, and she never even noticed.
Oh dear, well that's terrible.
Well, it's legal, but it made me laugh.
Yeah, I bet it did. And Jeremy, do you ever wake up, I'm sure you probably do quite a lot, thinking, God, this farming lark is a total nightmare. What have I done?
Well, no, I don't actually think that. And I'm very fortunate that I've got other income streams and things to do with my life. You know, I've got to go and do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire next month, and then the Grand Tour will get going again in whenever it gets going again, when we can travel. So there's other things I can do, but I genuinely have loved the last 3 months. Absolutely, 3 a.m, birthing lambs and things. I love that.
Yeah,
I love a lot of it. I really do.
Oh, that's great. It's fantastic.
I'm looking forward to the harvest. I mean, that's going to be disappointing, and the yield will be terrible, but be fun.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward.
Absolutely. And in the ideal world, can you see yourself doing this in, I don't know, 10 years' time?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I've become a drooling, crippled vegetable by then. But if I haven't, then you never know. But no, as long as my knees hold up, it's great. No, I would like to. Yeah, I'd like to.
Brilliant. And you've opened a farm shop.
We're opening it tomorrow.
Oh, you're opening it tomorrow. Is what, since COVID or?
Well, a number of reasons. None of which I've just been delivered. I'm not quite sure. I've just been given these, and I'm not quite sure what for.
Oh.
They could be for the farm shop, or they could be a present from somebody. Anyway, they're very nice.
They are very nice.
So yes, the farm shop opens tomorrow, and I'm not quite sure what we've got. We've got some tomato juice. We've got a few potatoes left over, and then some fish.
Brilliant.
Smoked trout. Well, the trouts we've grown wasabi, so that'll go in there.
Oh, fantastic.
So if anybody wants fresh wasabi, yeah, no. So I mean, we put a milk machine in. We're bottling our own water, honey. We've got that.
Wow.
Chard
So,
or spinach. We don't know what it is, but that'll be in there. And then as time goes on, all the other vegetables go in there, and then we've got some local pork, bacon, and so on and so forth. Yes, I mean it should be it's very small. It's only about 20 feet by 10, so it's not exactly Dalesford, but it's
no.
it's just a very small farm shop.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, and then I wanted to ask you, do you think this pandemic has highlighted the need for people to source local produce, in a positive way?
No, I think it definitely has. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely certain it has. But I'm also fairly certain that as soon as people are allowed to do what they want, they'll start buying, crap in the supermarket again. I'm absolutely sure they will, because we always do what's easiest, and it is easy to go to a supermarket because you can buy everything you need, from oven cleaner and bog rolls and everything, and Sutherland crab paste and whatever you want from a supermarket. Whereas if you go to the farm shop, you get a couple of mouldy carrots, and I'm not saying they're mouldy, but a couple of muddy carrots is what I meant.
Carrots.
And then you think, have you got any avocado? No, I haven't got that. Oh well, and then they go back to the supermarket next week and think this is easy, and that's the trouble.
Yeah.
It's because we've got to stop people eating avocados and quinoa.
Yeah, that's
we need to put out. Well, it's environmentally damaging to eat avocados.
Is it?
2 avocados is more environmentally damaging than driving a Volkswagen Polo for a year.
You serious?
Yeah, and that message needs to get out there. Stop silly women going to Soho Farmhouse and eating avocados.
I better curb my avocado.
No, we've all got to stop eating them.
Craze.
Yeah.
And tell me a bit about your I Bought a Farm series. What have we got in store for us?
It's like I Bought the Farm.
Oh, sorry. I Bought the Farm.
No, the Daily Mail keep calling it I Bought a Farm, and you just think, that's because you've never read any Tom Wolfe book. Not you. No one on the Daily Mail has ever read Tom Wolfe. Anyone who has read Tom Wolfe will have read the right stuff, and they'll know what I Bought the Farm means. It means I died.
Okay.
I mean, when a test pilot crashes his plane, they always say he bought the farm.
Oh, okay.
So it means he's crashed and burned, which is basically what I'm doing here. How to turn the old Aston Martin story. How do you make a small fortune out of farming? Is you start with a large fortune. And that's what I mean by I Bought the Farm. But actually, I'm not sure that Amazon liked the title, so it might not be called that. I don't know yet.
When will it be available? Aired and available?
That's another good. I mean, we'll stop the filming. We started in September with the planting season, and then we'll work all the way through to everything going off. The lambs being sold and the wheat barley rate going off, and then it'll finish. So it'll finish in September, and then it'll have to be edited, and then I don't know. That usually means 3 months of editing. So it'll be ready at sort of. Well, that doesn't mean it'll necessarily go out at Christmas time, but it might.
Okay, great, brilliant.
It's an 8-part series on Amazon.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it.
It was timely because we couldn't have done it's the only thing that's been filmed, as far as I know, in the UK for the last. I think it's the only production that hasn't been stopped, because we kept filming.
Fantastic. Oh, well,
I managed to convince the director it wasn't necessary as well, which was even better. So that we need a cameraman, we need a sound recordist, and we need me, but I can't think that we need you particularly, Gav. No. So I managed to convince him to stay at home and watch Pornhub.
So have James May and Richard Hammond been involved in any way with your farming show, or is it just? Do you want them to stay off your land?
No, I would shoot either of them if they came on. I'd be Farmer Palmer if they came. No. I mean, it's one of the great joys of doing this, of course, is I don't have to work with those two slapdash, clod-hopping idiots. No, it's much better. Much better. I had to have a Zoom call with them yesterday, which was awful. But I put bits of sticky tape over their faces and pretended it wasn't them.
Okay.
Because we're working on the Grand Tour and what happens come October when we're allowed again. But no, the farming program is delightful. Same crews as we use on the Grand Tour, but
yeah,
not those
yeah.
two. So.
And so Adam Henson is one of our Grapevine's ambassadors. Do you think he'll feel threatened by another celebrity farmer in the Cotswolds?
No, he wasn't a celebrity. He's become a celebrity farmer,
Yes.
but he wasn't a celebrity. He is now a farmer. He's just a farmer who happens to be on Countryfile, which means he isn't allowed to say that badgers cause TB, which I think is hilarious. I love watching Countryfile because they're going to say it this week. They're going to say, no, they haven't. They haven't said it. But you know, it's been suggested. I think we once got to the point where they hinted that it might be, but then there was somebody from Animal Rights saying, no, it isn't. Anyway, no, I love Countryfile. I'm one of the 8 million people who tune in.
No, it's a good thing to tune into every Sunday, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I like the Countryfile weather forecast as well because they never say we don't know. They just say rubbish. Have you noticed that? It's never right.
No weather forecast.
Why doesn't he just stand there and go, got no idea. I've no idea what's going to happen this week. Anyway, back to the show. That would be honest.
I know, it would be honest. And do you find it hard juggling the Grand Tour with your farming? Or is it a sort of nice...
I had to.
Relief?
No, I haven't had... No, I had to... We did one... We broke off in December so I could go off to Madagascar and do a Grand Tour. But they only take 10 days to 2 weeks maybe, tops. And, you know, we got up to Christmas and it was absolutely pouring down, so it made no difference anyway. I couldn't have done any farming even if I'd been here. So... no, that's fine. And then we haven't been able to do any for the last 3 months. So, but we're only doing 2 a year. So 2 a year. So, and I think we'll probably have to do the next one in the UK just because, but we don't know, or France or Ireland or Greece. I don't know. Who knows what will happen? Who
knows? And Jeremy, how hands-on are you with the farm? Have you got quite a lot of, well, obviously very, have you got a lot of help?
I mean, I'm not allowed to spray because I haven't got my license.
Right.
But I do, well, sort of chop down trees, but then I have to call in machines in the end because I'm not very good at that. In fact, I'm not very good at any. I like cultivating. That's quite therapeutic. And I like rolling my vegetable field. That was also therapeutic. But I'm hampered by the fact I'm not very practical, so I still haven't quite mastered putting anything on the back of the tractor. I'm never quite sure which button to push to make the arms go up and down. And then I look at that PTO or the top arms and just think, if I go around there, it's going to cut my arm off. I know you'll be reading about the farmer who walked 4 miles across the field because his arm had come off. It'll be me.
Yeah.
So I have to get people to help me put things on the back of the tractor, which is pathetic. But once it's on, I'll go off.
You're away.
I moved 3,000 tons of spoil the other day. That took 6 days it took. That was fun. And the cultivating I've done, but feeding the fish, watering the new trees. I mean, I'm out all the time. That did the lambing. That was
fantastic.
Well, I did get the wrong hole on the sheep. That was a bit embarrassing.
Oh God.
But I didn't know. I thought they were like hens and only had one hole, but there's 2.
Oh, really?
So I had the big Harriet glove on.
Yeah.
And it was late. And my shepherdess, she was working on with one. She said to me, the sheep, she said, that looks a bit in distress, that one. Could you just pop your arm up? And I couldn't find any lamb up where I was.
Sure you couldn't.
Well, I couldn't. And anyway, the sheep was looking at me like, haven't you got something better to do than this? I was fumbling around its back end. So that was a bit embarrassing. And anyway, that's on television because I was being filmed at the time.
Oh, God.
So you were asking earlier about disasters. That's probably the biggest disaster.
Yes.
That was...
that's good. That's a good disaster. And then going back to the Grand Tour. Sorry, we're jumping about a bit.
Right.
What do you enjoy most about the Grand Tour, the filming of that?
In every single thing anyone does in life, you have to do it well. If you work in a shoe shop, your job is to sell shoes. And if you're an accountant, you have to do a good job. You have to make sure somebody's tax returns are accurate and in on time and so on, and try and save as much money as you can. Or if you're a lawyer, you have to try and win the case for your client. On the Grand Tour, we've set ourselves up after many years of working together where everyone expects us and hopes we'll fail. So we can actually stand there and go, we failed.
Yeah.
Which means you don't have to try, you don't have to be good at anything or try very hard, which is such a relief.
Yeah.
Well, you just think, well, if we've got to get the car across this river and it sinks, that's great television. And the viewer will go, oh my, look, they've sunk that car in that river. And it's always, it's perfect. So we actually celebrate failure. I mean, the fact of the matter is, anyone who ever tries to do DIY, for example, at home, it always ends in a disaster. Always. Everyone can't do DIY. Oh, cooking. I mean, there are some people who can cook jolly well, but if ever I attempt to roast potatoes, it just doesn't work.
No.
And most people are used to people failing. And when they turn their television on and see 3 people on television who also fail, because every other program they don't fail.
No.
They don't go over to someone and say, right, we're going over now to Parliament Square. And the reporter goes, I don't know, I haven't seen anything. I've only just got here. The bus was late. Everything always works on television. And the Grand Tour, and before it, Top Gear, was an opportunity for people to see other people failing. Yeah. And that's why I wanted the farming show to be different. Yeah. Farming, well, it is failing, but not because I haven't tried my hardest.
And Jeremy, do you miss working for the BBC?
It's funny, the new Director General is an old mate of mine from the BBC days, Tim Davies, a nice chap. No, he was saying the other day, I'll come home. But, you know, the truth is, you'd struggle on the BBC now. It's so unbelievably right on that you just couldn't say anything which I make my living from saying. So
too restrictive.
I think it is becoming very, very restrictive, the BBC, which is a shame because it's, you know, it's a good idea, I think.
So your role hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, do you really enjoy that?
Millionaire, sorry, I'm getting an email, which is my one of the day. No, I love doing Millionaire. That's just heavenly. It's just brilliant. You just sit there and imbeciles come and then they don't know anything. And then you're longing for someone interesting or charismatic to do well. And then just often enough, it happens. In the last series, there were 2 who did really well and you wanted them to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't much like the ask the host question.
No, do you feel enormous pressure?
A huge pressure. And what's really irritating is that they can be asked a question about cars. There was one recently where they were asked about torque, Torque, and they went, oh, I don't know, I'll ask the audience. And I was thinking, and ask the audience, and they got it right. And the next one was about tiramisu, and they asked me. And I was like, why didn't you ask me about, I don't know anything about tiramisu. Well, they never really ask me questions. They don't really think, what's he good at? You know, he's travelled a lot and he knows about cars.
Yeah. What a waste. What a waste.
I know, and it is a pressure when you sort of sit there and you think, I've got all those people at home going, there's another one he doesn't know.
But particularly if the person's, you know, you like the person, you want them to do well.
You want them to do well. It's only once they get to about 4,000, you can normally tell, oh my God, there's an idiot. And then I'll sort of speak. You'll see. I'll start to ask the questions more quickly.
Yes.
You're not going to get. You've come here to win some decking.
Yeah.
But your back porch. That's all you want.
Sort of
Let's get on with it. You get your decking, and then you can go home. We don't have to trouble ourselves with you for a minute longer than
necessary.
And then you get some really genuinely interesting, nice people.
Yeah.
Who you want to sit back and chat to.
And were you sort of worried about filling Chris Tarrant's shoes? Or
really, because he hadn't been doing it for a long time. I mean, I forget how many years it had not been on air, but it quite some time. So it wasn't like he'd taken his shoes off, put them in a cupboard, they'd gone to a jumble sale, somebody else had had them, and they'd been recycled into whatever shoes get recycled into. I wasn't really getting into them because there'd been such a long gap. It wasn't like Chris Evans stepping into Top Gear, and you know that really was fresh pair of shoes, and that was tricky.
Yeah, no, I should imagine.
It's not. I mean, Millionaire, you can't really mess around with it. You just sit there and ask questions.
Yeah. And what's the biggest amount that's been won since you've done it?
I mean, since I've done it, there's two have won £500,000. I've asked the £1 million
Wow.
question twice.
That's amazing.
And then there was really annoying in the last season, or series as I must call it. One guy got to $500,000 and he asked me, and a $250,000, and amazingly I knew the answer.
Oh wow.
And so he then got to it, but he sort of knew the answer as well. He just checked with me and I knew it. So he carried on, got $500,000, then he got to £1 million and the question was about motor racing. I thought, oh God, if only he'd saved me. Yeah, what's the oldest motor race in the world? Which I knew. So he could have asked me, and I could have won him £1 million.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have felt so bad.
Oh God, what a nightmare. Typical. It should be about cars.
Oh, it should have been Eleanor of Aquitaine. I wouldn't have known that, but it was about motor racing, so I did.
Oh. And have you sort of ever had anyone on where you thought you're a real cocky little so-and-so? You know, bit of a dickhead.
There's some people, you know, television affects people in weird ways and they behave sometimes a bit gauche, but you can always tell it's just nerves normally.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
I mean, no, I've never really thought what an unpleasant. I know some of them hate me. I can always see that in their eyes.
Can you?
But no, I don't really I just dislike the ones who I don't. But you never know until 10 minutes in that they're not there to win £1 million. They're there to win a small hatchback, which is irritating.
Yeah, no, it is irritating. Oh, Jeremy, thank you.
No, it's been fun.
It's been great and fascinating, and thank you very much for your time.
It's been good fun, and I've enjoyed looking at all your artwork.
Oh God, what's behind?
And you carry a bag and you globe.
Oh dear, it's not.
I haven't swung my camera around, so you have to quickly turn the off button as soon as I get around.
You've got far more interesting things in your background.
Not really. There's some signs over there.
Moron.
Yeah, no, those are signs from the Grand Tour from places we've been. No, this is the shoot barn we're in.
That is brilliant. Thank you, Jeremy, so much.
No, absolute pleasure, Panda.